Breaking now from Fox 17 News.
Well, back to that chaos in Washington, D.C., just into our newsroom now. The woman who was shot inside of the U.S. Capitol during those riots has now died. She was shot in the chest, but the circumstances around that violence are still not clear. Meantime, Michigan representatives had to take shelter during those riots, and I talked earlier with Congressman Bill Huizenga and Peter Meijer. Take a listen.
I can tell you I'm safe, and all of the delegation is safe. I cannot tell you where we're at right now.
Understandable. Can you tell us about the moments where the floor actually was evacuated? What was it like, and how did things start, actually, with the evacuation process?
Quickly escalated with a couple of announcements that there had been an individual that breached it came into the Capitol, and then it became evident that it was far more than that. They started very quickly locking down the House chamber, locking all the doors, getting all the members in, and they escorted all of the leadership, Speaker Pelosi, Steve Scalise, and others out of the chamber. And there was an attempt to continue with the debate about Arizona and the electors there. That pretty quickly became evident that we were not going to be able to proceed as they were starting to get some folks out. There was an attempted breach into the House chambers. Capitol Hill Police and a few members were honestly getting ready to barricade. I actually was carrying one of the benches towards the door to help build the barricade. When there was a very loud noise, it did not sound like a gunshot, and one of my military friends said, and from his experience, it sounded more like tear gas or what they call a flashbang grenade. That's what it sounded like to me, like it hit the glass. Obviously, if I took a couple more steps towards the door when they started screaming, shots fired, get down. And so I dropped the bench. I was carrying it with another Capitol Hill police officer, I believe. And then obviously was trying to get out of the chamber as they were building that barricade and had weapons drawn. And obviously, this is it's a sad day. If the folks who stormed the Capitol like this thought they were going to intimidate people, that isn't what. Certainly not for me. That's not what happened. This is not how we handle disagreements and divisiveness in the political sphere. This is not how we handle it. It was wrong when Antifa and others were on the streets creating violence. It's wrong now with supporters of the president, and it needs to be denounced strongly, just as it had needed to be denounced back a number of months ago.
Do you have anything to say to the president as we speak to you here this afternoon?
Well, I think he needs to go on television and publicly denounce that and tell them to stop and go home.
I mean, this is a time for leadership. This is a time for clarity. This is a time to make sure that we don't allow those who attempt to intimidate, to attempt to use violence. This is not what a democracy looks like. This is not what a republic looks like. I swore an oath to the Constitution. That is something I hold very dear. I swore an oath to the Constitution when I enlisted in the military as well. So we're safe. Our family's safe. Making sure our staff is safe. This is just something that I could not be more saddened that it has come to this. I think the president needs to immediately condemn this violence. Needs to immediately move to recognize Vice President Biden as president-elect. This is just a sad day for our country. It means we steel our guts. We resolve to never let something like this ever happen again. To not let our country come to the brink of this degree of tension, of partisan rancor, of violence, of insurrection. This is beyond the pale. This is absolutely unacceptable. I mean, I think that goes without saying. But we need to heal the divisions. We need to make sure that we're rebuilding trust throughout. We are Americans. The folks who stormed these buildings, they call themselves patriots. I mean, this is an act of treason if I've ever seen one.